right, so week 1 is the short starts and stops drill. So this is a drill that I use to get a baseline for officers that are looking to go into the motorcycle academy, get them on a training bike, get them doing some short starts and stops to see kind of where they're at and what we can build on to get them to be more successful while they're getting ready to go to the academy. The Police Motorcycle Academy. So this drill will be completed using cones spaced approximately 18 feet apart. Doesn't have to be 18 feet, just enough room for them to get moving and then come to a controlled stop. And then from a stop, the rider will apply light to moderate throttle while letting out the clutch and covering the rear brake. Once the rider has started to move at a slow pace, they will come to a complete stop by pulling on the throttle and applying both front and rear brake. The rider is to stop by the next cone that is approximately 18 feet away. The rider will then repeat these steps until the last cone, where they will be instructed on how to proceed. So the goal of short starts and stops is to become fluent in starting and stopping your motorcycle under control. We're not wanting to be grabbing the brake and causing our motorcycle to become unbalanced and falling over. All right, so I'm gonna walk you through how to do this. Literally, I'm walking, my feet are on the ground, bike's over there. So we're gonna be starting at our first cone. We're going to be covering the rear brake with our right foot, which means it's going to be up on that floorboard, just covering that rear brake. If you need to use it to keep yourself in place, do that. Left foot's going to be on the ground. We're going to not be using any front brake at this moment, and we're going to have our clutch completely pulled in. So in order to start moving, what do we have to do? We have to start letting our clutch out to where we start feeling it engage, to where we're getting pulled forward just slightly. Then we are going to give it just a little bit of throttle. We don't want to give it too much because we're not trying to go fast on this drill. And we're going to let off that rear brake to where we start rolling forward. We're going to start coming up to our next cone, so we need to start putting our, giving that rear brake some pressure, pulling in that clutch and rolling off of the throttle. We're going to be coming to a controlled stop. We're not going to be grabbing that front brake, but if you want to use just a little bit of that front brake, you're more than welcome to. Remember that if we're not going more than 10 to 15 miles an hour, the front brake's really not necessary. All it's going to do is possibly turn those handlebars if your handlebars are just slightly turned, and you could possibly end up dumping that bike, and that's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to come to controlled stops. All right, so we come to our controlled stop with that right foot still up, covering that rear brake. We're going to do it again. We're going to let the clutch out just slightly until we feel that gray zone, or the friction zone engage. We're going to let off that rear brake, give it a little bit of throttle, start rolling forward. And we're going to come to a controlled stop by pulling in the clutch, giving it some rear brake, putting that left foot back on the ground, and coming to a controlled stop. So that's the basis of the drill. You can do it however far you want. If you want to go for 30 feet, 40 feet, that's perfectly fine as well. So I'll go ahead and get on the bike and show you how to do it on the bike. All right, so like I said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering our rear brake. I don't know if you're able to see that, but my right foot is covering the rear brake. And by covering the rear brake, I don't mean our whole foot right over it to where we're jamming it down. I mean, basically our big toe or the ball of our foot is on that bottom right corner of the brake. That gives us control to be able to moderate that rear brake a little bit more easily. We're gonna have our clutch completely pulled in, right leg up, left leg down. I'm gonna be turning on the bike. All right. So what I'm going to be doing is letting off the clutch to where I feel it start moving. Okay. Letting off the rear brake, getting going, lifting that left foot, coming to a controlled stop while covering the front brake, using the rear brake, pulling the clutch back in, and putting that left foot down to come to a controlled stop. I'll be doing it again. So I'm not jerking it down there because that's not what we want. Okay, come to a controlled stop. There we go. So that's how we're supposed to be doing the drill. All right, so I'm going to do that again, but then I'm going to make some common mistakes that people are making. So, common mistakes that I'm seeing is people just not covering the rear brake. They've got both their feet down, which I understand that can be needed for stability, but we're practicing on a flat surface and in a controlled environment, so we're trying to make sure that we make this muscle memory. Right foot up, rear brake covered. Get that clutch engaged, What a lot of people are going to do is they're going to either slam on the front or rear brake, or I'll demonstrate on this next one, is they're going to grab that front brake, which is going to jerk them forward, causing the bike to make lots of not fun noises, activating that ABS. Probably not activating the ABS, but anyway, causing you to jerk forward and not be controlled. We want to be controlled while we're doing this. So we're not jerking that front brake. That's not controlled. All right. One more time. Okay. Let the clutch out, rear brake, put that left foot down, grab that front brake just slightly. If you can tell, I just use one finger, but it's because I got these adjustable these adjustable levers. Makes it a lot easier to reach those levers while I'm riding. Bring that foot up, get moving. Rear brake, clutch in, slight throttle, let it go. A little bit of throttle, left foot down, rear brake, come to a controlled stop. That easy. All right, so I got back to the house and realized that my SD card was full on my drone, so I did not get any aerial footage of the drill. It really wouldn't have added too much except for being able to see basically that my right leg was on the rear brake covering it the entire time. So other than that, that is the basics of how to do the short starts and stops. Like I said, that's a drill that I designed or picked up, I guess, because it's not something I designed. Other people have done it before, but it's something I use to evaluate my officers whenever I'm trying to make sure that they're ready to move on to the next skills so that we can prepare them appropriately for going through motor school. So if you have any questions, let us know. I'd love to see everybody's videos. So if you feel like posting it, if you're someone that likes social media and likes to post what you're doing on a motorcycle, post it for me. I'd love to see it. Tag me in there. Tag Pro Rider West Georgia in there as well. So that way we can get some good interactions and we can see how our students are doing. So until then, y'all ride safe. And if you have any questions, hit me up.